Hello again, race fans, and welcome to round 4 of the 2025 Doppler IndyCar Series, coming to you live from the stunning natural terrain of Barber Motorsports Park. We leave the sweeping curves of motorsport behind, and now it's all about precision, flow, and rhythm here at Barber. Goodrich and Shane Larson took the victories last time out at Canadian Tire Motorsport Park, and with his win, Shane Larson has vaulted into the championship lead. 4 races, 4 different winners, and the storylines just keep getting better. The competition remains fierce with Goodrich, Pagadala, Soloish, Morris, and a host of others all within striking distance, and with Mulwayne and Broomhead victorious here last season, there are plenty of drivers looking to draw blood. Barber's flowing hills and technical layout will challenge these drivers in a totally different way. It's fast, it's tight, it's open, but punishing, and it's where the best will rise to the top. This is BiS, powered by Doppler, and you're watching Pit Road Productions. Buckle up, it's time to go IndyCar racing. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to Pit Road Productions. My name is Daniel Zippy Salmon, and joining me in the booth today is Reese, the Southpaw Racer Gardner, and then at the production controls, Mr. Christian Hill. Reese, why don't you tell us a little bit about this track, sir?
Yeah, honestly, this track is one of the classics, a modern classic, I would have to say. Barber Motorsport Park is pretty much new compared to a lot of these tracks that we have on the schedule. It was built in 2003, and it's old school as heck. Welcome to Barber Motorsports Park. Beautiful, technical, and brutally challenging. Measuring 2.38 miles and packed with 17 corners, Barber is a flowing roller coaster that demands total precision. We launch down the short front straight into turn 1, a fast left-hander setting you up for a steep descent into turns 2 and 3. Rhythm is everything here. You miss one apex and the next 3 corners punish you. Through the fast, undulating sections like Charlotte's Web at turn 5, Barber's best overtaking zone, and the sweeping run back uphill toward the museum corner, you have to balance aggression with patience. The final complex demands commitment too. One wrong move and you're losing chunks of time. And don't forget, elevation changes here make the car dance all lap long. Survive all that and you might just get rewarded. Barber is gorgeous, but it's ruthless. Get ready for a battle, Zippy. This track is one of the best on the schedule for my money, but we should have a look at the other tracks that are yet to come this season.
Oh, absolutely, Reese. And certainly the next big one, we are going to be heading to the BiS Indy 500. That's definitely going to be a belter there at Indianapolis. Before we head to duel at Detroit, we have the Indy Grand Prix of Road America there for round 7, finalizing at the Grand Prix of Portland for round 8. Definitely a very eclectic mix, and I gotta say, I love Mike Broomhead's handiwork here. You can see some winners here, fantastic stuff. But Reese, I gotta say, that's where we've been and where we're going. How's it looking out so far on the point side of things?
On the points side of things, we have Shane Larson leading the championship coming out of Motorsport. It would turn out to be quite a chaotic round for a lot of these drivers here. Ariane Pagadala falling to 3rd in the championship, but it's certainly not over for him. Far from over indeed. Morris and Gritzko only separated by 1 point for the top 5. Things still incredibly close throughout the rest of your field as well. Just rounding out the top 20 there, Eric Fenson, and in the team's championship, Fury Simsport Black leading the way, and they have a 40-point lead over Hyperion Racing, so here's hoping that that's going to close up a bit more here at Barber Motorsport Park.
Well, definitely some points still on the table, Reese. But let's take a look about the race details here, ladies and gentlemen. So these guys have had 80 minutes to practice with a 15-minute open qualifying. What that means is the cars do indeed share the track. Race 1 will be 30 minutes with a 5-minute break in between, with a final race being a top 15 invert again of 30 minutes. It is push to pass available. That's 10 20-second bursts of 50 horsepower. Certainly actually more than my first car. It is a fixed setup as well. Drivers will need to take fuel, and they must use both tyre compounds in both races, ladies and gentlemen. Fantastic stuff. But Reese, I hear you've got a word from our sponsor as well.
I certainly do. Of course, we have to thank Doppler for their fantastic support of this series. Secure your secrets with Doppler. Developers, stop storing API keys and credentials in plain text. Doppler is the ultimate secrets manager built in to keep your environment variables safe, organized, and always in sync across every team and every environment. With Doppler, you can manage secrets effortlessly, sync across local, staging, and production, eliminate env file chaos, and integrate seamlessly with AWS, Vercel, GitHub, and more. Join thousands of teams securing their workflows with Doppler. Start for free at Doppler.com today. Doppler, the secret ops platform developers trust.
Again, a huge thanks to them, ladies and gentlemen. But Reese, it looks like these guys are still in qualifying, if I am not mistaken.
Only a few seconds left in qualifying, though, about 10 seconds worth. So just a few more moments and we'll have a chance to go through the grid for this round. I tell you what, looking at those championship standings, looking at the fact that Larson and Pagadala, they've been swapping things around so much, the chaos at Motorsport has really changed the face of this championship, and I think these drivers are going to be using that momentum to move forward.
Absolutely. Certainly, I know that Mike Broomhead's very much looking to try and get another win here. It's on the famous Princess approved track list, but I believe the grid has indeed been geared up. Let's take a look through the numbers.
So starting on pole position is going to be Aussie Milwane with Shane Larson alongside him on the front row. Clay Morris and Mitch Green are going to be our second row, with Caden Goodridge rounding out the top 5 there. Asad Nikadambev in 6th. Andrew Hartman is going to start in 7th place alongside Kostek Soavier, and then rounding out the top 10 we have Ariane Pagadala, former championship leader, now 3rd, starting alongside Matt Brewer.
That does indeed close out your top 10. As we look at P11, you got Mauricio Parada there alongside Eric Fenson. Certainly a interesting pace from him so far in the championship. Mike Broomhead, he's feeling pretty confident today. He's in P13 alongside Pit Road Productions' very own Richard Swindell's in P14. As we have a look a little bit further back, the 1-2-3 machine of Phil Nels. He's alongside Matthew Mailman, one of the Lima Racing team. And further back again, Cedric O'Hyan, definitely one of my favorite people on the grid. He's there alongside Nicholas Calander with actually a really good headshot. Fair play to him there, closing out this 18-car grid.
Yes, indeed, and 18 cars is about the max that you can have at Barber without it descending into complete chaos, in my opinion. It's certainly going to be an interesting one. We have, of course, those 2 races on the cards here. Formation lap coming round to start at the moment behind the BMW M2 CSR. Now, Milwane and Larson on the front row, that is a very stacked front row indeed. And Larson, as I was alluding to before, but basically he's got huge momentum now coming out of Motorsport. He somehow managed to get together a good enough result to take the championship lead in the midst of all the chaos that happened. And I think he's carried that very nicely. Starting on the front row here at Barber, well, if he nails the start, if he stays with Milwane, if he somehow gets past him in the early stages of this first race, I reckon he's going to be hard to beat.
Well, honestly, having a quick look at this and seeing these standings, I've got a little bit of a quiet bet there on the number 45 car, Caden Goodridge. Now, he's been getting faster and faster, and certainly we've seen some fantastic overtaking moves from him. And I've got to say, I've been very impressed. Don't get me wrong, he is a real-life racing driver as well. But certainly in P5, I think there's a lot to watch. Not only that, we've got the tyre compounds as well. He's gone for the softer tyre to start. Actually, looking at the top 5, Clay Morris, one of the only driver in the top 5 to take that harder compound. So we'll have to see how well he can hold on to that 3rd place.
Yeah, indeed. You know, I'm looking down through the field as well at Asad Nikadambev as well. 6th place on the grid for him. He's got some fantastic pace in these cars. It's taken him a bit here to start getting some consistent results in the IndyCar, but I honestly think that it's going to be a fantastic run for him. Keeping an eye out for other drivers throughout this field. You know, we got to remember that the top 15 are going to be inverted for the second race. So keep an eye on Phil Nels, Matthew Michael Broomhead as well. 13th place start for our league administrator. He hasn't always had the best luck in the races here. So, you know, I'm thinking that he might have to settle for maybe a high top 10 at most, but we'll have to wait and see on that one. But keep an eye on that 15th place. That's going to be pole position for race 2.
Yeah, it was just actually reading my mind there, Reese. I was about to type in our broadcast chat that it was indeed top 15, wasn't it, for the invert grid. So basically, with an 18-car grid today, one of the smaller grids actually, which is quite surprising. Barber is generally quite a loved track. Don't get me wrong, it's not on my Princess approved list, but let's be real, most tracks aren't. I'm a very fussy madam when it comes to choosing a track I really like to drive, but I gotta say, really loving the paint job there on Clay Morris, number 48 car. Big fan of Radical over here, certainly a very biased opinion, but I gotta say, the color scheme, the logos, it looks so appropriate on that IndyCar.
It certainly does. It's a very nice color scheme indeed, and it looks perhaps one of the most racy, one of the most real-life inspired sort of racing liveries on the grid, as the grid is about to form and fan out into turn 1. Hey, it looks like Barney's doing his job today. Into turn 1, Shane Larson jumping on the grass, and Ozzy Milwane will lead the race coming out of turn 2. But Clay Morris will protect that third place from Mitch Green. Asad Nakardenbev has moved ahead of Caden Goodridge and into the top 5, but that's a big dive coming into the hairpin from Goodridge. That's too hard, and it's absolutely clobbered Mitch Green. He's going to be none too happy with that.
Yeah, I do believe there's some couple of incidents that are going on at that start. So if you go high, and Richard Swindell's, I think, have been involved in that. As we see a little bit of backside.
Oh, no!
That's not what you wanted to happen. The 45 now missing the left front part of the wing. I think it's a little bit of a bunch there from that orange car. And you can see they're definitely taking on some damage. Front splitter is indeed damaged. Definitely got a little bit of a nudge to the rear as well. As we're looking at Shane Larson going a little
No, that's Matt Brewer.
Matt Brewer, my apologies.
He was the one that ran into Goodridge coming down to the chicane. Oh, it's been a terrible start for Goodridge, and that's 2 cars now on this lap that have fallen victim to him just pushing a bit too hard on those cold tyres.
Certainly, it can be a little bit, almost unnerving at times when you go from that qualification where you've had nice, warm, fresh, sticky weather, and then you've got to remember to reset yourself and remember, okay, this is not quite the same car I've just driven. I think the fuel load may even be a little bit heavier now as well, which honestly, for me, I find it actually works out better. But you can see there a couple of people are absolutely tumbling through the field. Caden Goodridge being one of them, Mitch Green, Mauricio Parada's got caught up in something as well. He's down 3 spots, as indeed Matt Brewer. Certainly Richard Swindell's actually up 1 position despite being caught in an incident earlier on. Cedric O'Hyan up 5 positions. So certainly these guys are already getting some good attrition there. Phil Nels as well, he's up 5. Matthew Mailman up 5. Some good attrition going on from a couple of these drivers.
Yeah, indeed. And, I wasn't all that optimistic about Broomhead on the formation lap, but he's had a fantastic run. He's up into 9th place now. Meanwhile, we keep our eyes on the battle for the lead. Oh, God, that's probably the quickest commentator's curse in history. I just saw Broomhead go into the wall the instant I finished that sentence.
Oh my gosh! Well, it's fair play, Reese. We can replay that very shortly, and definitely we do take zero liability for that, but certainly we do send our sympathies out to the 00 car of Michael Broomhead as we resume this battle here with Shane Larson. You can see that running just the right amount of curbing there, trying to stay in hot pursuit of Ozzy Milwane. Both of these gentlemen on these softer tyres as well. As you see, Arkin Pagadala there using that push to pass. Ladies and gentlemen, if you see the driver saying like Shane Larson right now, if you see that light up purple Phil Nels right now, they are indeed using that push to pass. There's some interesting features to keep an eye on in the timing tower.
Yeah, indeed. Every time you see the purple arrows, that means someone is on push to pass, and they get, I believe, 200 seconds worth of push to pass to use throughout every road course race. When we go to ovals, push to pass is inactive, and obviously you can't use it in qualifying, but in the race you can use it to get a bit of extra power and catch up to your rival. At a track like Barber Motorsports Park, I think push to pass is very useful. This is traditionally a track that's very difficult to make overtakes on. We'll see how difficult it really is here with Shane Larson still chasing down Clay Morris coming through turns 1 and 2. Perhaps the best overtaking opportunity on the lap is coming up here at turn 5, the hairpin. Larson on the push to pass. He's trying his best to put himself in a position where he can make this move, and he does up the inside. And the position is exchanged. Larson to the lead.
I got to admit, that was an absolutely fantastic pass from the 31 car, the Hyperion Racing. And if I remember rightly, they're leading the team's championship as well. Forgive me, my memory not always as good as it could be. But the battle does indeed continue for the lead. And we got another battle happening as well, actually. It's between third all the way down to sixth, ladies and gentlemen. You've got Clay Morris, Kostek Solowaj, Aryan Pagadala, and Asad Nikarabev all getting into a four-way fight for that final podium spot.
Yeah, a bit spaced out at the moment, but we'll see what Kostek will be able to do here to make an impression on that podium here. Obviously, his teammate Mitch Green, who started in 4th, was clobbered by Caden Goodridge on the opening lap. So now the Fury Sim Sport charge falls to Kostek here. See what he can do.
Oh, absolutely. Certainly, you know what? He's doing well at being 4th place. Now, BIS has always had a very tough strength of field, ladies and gentlemen. Don't get me wrong, I used to run in BIS, and at the time, it was probably my peak driving performance, and it's fair to say that I did not do that well. I did actually manage to secure 1 podium. Don't ask me how I did it, ladies and gentlemen, but I've got to say that's a huge respect to the drivers that come here. Certainly a very eclectic mix, but generally somebody for everyone to race against. And you can see that we have races happening throughout. Currently, Mauricio Parada, he's going out with Mitch Green as well, back in 13th place, but right now we're on board with the 64 car of Kostek Solowaj, applying a good amount of pressure to the Radical Canada employee of Clay Morris.
Yeah, we'll see if he can use push to pass more to his advantage here. Looks like Soavier has paused on his use of the push to pass. Actually, my timing screen is showing me how much push to pass everyone has, which is very handy indeed. It looks like the lowest at the moment is actually Phil Nellis, who's only got 141 seconds left. Our leader, Shane Larson, has 164 seconds left at the moment. Andrew Hartman in 7th hasn't used push to pass yet. That is very interesting. You know, he hasn't moved forward, he hasn't moved backward, he's still in the same position he started, but now here comes Soavier and Pagadala to continue on their push to pass campaign here, and Soavier has translated it into a move for the podium. Clay Morris back to 4th.
I gotta say, fantastic moves we're starting to see here at Barber Motorsports Park. Frankly, Clay Morris able to keep the car going. You see Arden Pagadala, he's about 9/10 of a second back, and actually that's going to close in a little bit there. He's managed to get it down to 7/10, so some interesting stuff. But I actually want to switch over to P11 right now, because it looks like Cedric O'Hyan, so one of the Lima racing drivers and a real-life racing driving at that, is getting into a battle there with Richard Swindells.
Yeah, indeed. Lima Racing, of course, active in the Real Radical series in real life. It looks like O'Hyan has lost part of his front wing there. That's not ideal. He's not going to have much grip on the left-hand side of the car there. I'm wondering where he picked that up.
Well, I did remember that Swindells and O'Hyan definitely got involved in an incident earlier on in the race, but was able to actually stay away from some of the more dramatic incidents for sure. But he is, like you said, going to feel that, and that probably explains why Swindells has already managed to put away a 1.7 second gap. He is flying, so at this point, I think O'Hyan, he needs to think about coming into the pits. This damage having detrimental effect on his lap times, but the question is, he's then going to have to 2-stop. So realistically, he just needs to be able to limp this far enough to make sure he's going to have enough to not have to 2-stop it.
Yeah, exactly. And this is not an ideal situation for O'Hyan, and he would already have carried quite a bit of damage from that lap 1 incident with Richard Swindells. Looking at that on my end, it just looked like O'Hyan was a bit too deep into the first turn, much like Caden Goodridge was. And if you're interested to know the reason, well, Goodridge has said in the InSim chat, when he hit the brakes, his foot cramped up. So that's far from ideal. Meanwhile, Ariane Pagadala, the next driver to become a thorn in Clay Morris's side, having to take to the grass a little bit out of the final corner to keep the space up. But Ariane here, he held the championship lead in those early stages, or at least was fighting very hard for it. the unfortunate runnings last round at Motorsport have put him back to 4th in the championship coming into this round, and so he's going to be scrambling to get every point he can here.
Well, certainly. Not only that, if I remember rightly, Reese, we actually we covered the race here on Pit Road Productions, the series where he was competing in the Formula B, the F1200 Championship as well. Very potent driver. His racecraft is definitely something to be reckoned with. And if I was Clay Morris, I would definitely be very conscious of the fact that that man is behind. But you can see there, what's happened to Kostek? He's dropped right back there, and the pair of them absolutely just mugged the guy.
Yeah. Kostek Soavier falling back behind the both of them now. It looks like Soavier ran deep at the downhill chicane. He clattered over the curb and over the grass, and unfortunately lost all of his momentum. But he's going to try and get the car back under control and fight his way back forward. But he'll have to keep an eye out for Asad Nikardenbev behind him too. Nikardenbev, the second of the drivers who's on the hard compound, the lead driver on the hards being Clay Morris. The hard tyre runners will have had their tyres well and truly switched on by now, and so I think we're going to start seeing some pace come out from them. The alternate compound, the red-walled softs, looks like they're at the point now where they're going to start to fall off.
Certainly, I definitely do not profess to be an expert in these IndyCar tyres, but I do love the fact that we have multiple compounds. Now, Nikardenbev, definitely one of the younger drivers, but I will say that don't underestimate the young lad. Like, he is potent, by all means, a lot quicker than me. But saying that, I think everybody in the session is indeed a lot quicker than me. I need to get myself doing a bit of driver coaching. Certainly, I've got the materials. I just need to sit down and apply myself and do it. But certainly, kind of actually a real-life karter, a sponsored karter at that. So you better say he knows how to shift a kart, well, go-kart, and indeed, in the sim, he's a very potent driver indeed. If I actually have a quick look at his iRating, he's 23.71, ladies and gentlemen, so definitely nothing to shake his stick at. But right now, he's about 1.3, 1.4 seconds behind 5th place of Kostek Soavier. Can he capitalize on that and try and move himself a little bit forward? But Clay Morris was able to pull away a little bit, but Pagadala on them softer tyres starting to catch up again.
Indeed, there's Nikardenbev on the push to pass as well. You're right, he is a very potent young driver indeed. I battled wheel to wheel with him in the BiS F1600 race at Bathurst, and he's certainly difficult to keep behind. He knows when to pull out that aggression at exactly the right time. And, it's a case with these aggressive young drivers. Often you find that they overstep the mark occasionally. Sometimes they make a mistake in the heat of the moment or something like that. Nikardenbev has certainly done that in the past, but I've just been watching him develop over the past few months, and just seeing him apply these new techniques and sort of refine his aggression, make it a bit more pointed in certain places. It's amazing to see, and it looks like the results are going to be coming to him as a result. He's having a very good race right now. Fingers crossed I haven't just cursed him. Touch wood, whatever wood may be around you. But we'll see how it turns out for him here.
Oh, fair play to him. Definitely, I would agree he has indeed improved. But ladies and gentlemen, the number 36 car, the Lima Racing driver, Cedric O'Hine, I can tell you, has just come through the pits last lap. So definitely, he was holding off to make sure he wouldn't have to do something. Currently, he's still up 3 positions from where he started, resting back in P14. So potentially, he could be back in with a shot. Currently, a lap down off the leaders. Very much just got to bring this car to the end. But ladies and gentlemen, P14 would put him in P2 for the second race of the evening.
Certainly will. And it looks like we may have some confirmation that we are going to be getting some replays of that start very shortly. And as we keep our eyes on the battle between Kostek Soavier and Ariane Pagadala, look at how Soavier is pushing in this final sector of the circuit. It's very difficult to line it up for that penultimate corner. One of the reasons why Barber is such a challenging track. But when our producer Christian is ready, we'll have a look at that start replay and see what happened to Richard Swindells, to Cedric O'Hine, to the likes of Caden Goodridge as well. Well, as we ready that replay here, attempted pass by Soavier, but we will have a look here at this start. It was a pretty good run from Aussie Milwane and Shane Larson into the first turn. but keep your eyes peeled on the cars further back, and also to Caden Goodridge, who went very hard into the initial turns there. It looks like just out of frame it happened, the incident between Ohio and Swindells. So unfortunate for them. Oh dear, I've just seen on live pictures a very significant development. Ariane Pagadala has walled it. Sorry to turn your attention away from this as we see Caden Goodridge going for that move again. Ariane Pagadala has hit the wall, and it looks like race-ending damage for him. Coming into the final sector of the circuit, he just caught the curb wrong, and yeah, unfortunately, that is going to be some big damage repair, at least for him. Can't even turn it in for pit lane.
Well, it's fair to say that is the BIS equivalent of having a broken nose, a broken toe, and fair to say he's going to need a doctor, at least the car is. But good news, ladies and gentlemen, these drivers do indeed have one fast repair. So right now, he is indeed falling through the field. He's just been pushed down to P9 and crashing, but he has made it to the pits. As we're taking a quick look here, we'll see the replay, see exactly what happened. He goes over the curb again. Everything's looking fine for the number 19 car so far. A little bit too much curb there. Bottoms out the car and, for lack of better words, yeets it over and has a full frontal collision with that concrete barrier.
Shame there for Pagadala. It looks like he just took a bit too much speed into the corner, and also maybe got a bit destabilized over that curb through the left-hander too. So, yeah, Ariane, the car was already out of control there, and he was just a passenger heading towards the wall. Well, he's managed to get a fast repair done and get back out there, fortunately. So hopefully he'll be able to preserve some kind of good result from here. Actually, it's not worked out too badly for him. He's fallen back to 12th, yes, but remember, the top 15 get inverted for the start of race 2. If he stays where he is, that's going to be a P4 start for him.
Yeah, that definitely could be the saving grace for him indeed. Actually, right now, the person sat on that hot seat, and he seems to have a little bit of a jammy dodger effect. It's a 00 car of Michael Broomhead, but I do want to see what happened to Swindells and Ohio at the start of this race.
We'll see what happened to Broomhead first. That's what happened to him in the opening laps there. It looks like just a little slide through the fast corner, and he overcorrected, and the car went spearing into the wall. Broomhead, fortunately, has gotten into the pits and gotten his fast repair done with a bit of a tow as well. I don't know if he'll need to... Oh dear, there was a spin for Ohio as well on his way through. But the start certainly didn't go to his liking either. We saw him jump on into turn 1, and it was very aggressive on the way in. Cold tyres, of course. Here's what happened at the start between Ohio and Swindells. Cedric was starting more towards the back, but he's on the other side of the circuit, can't see the braking point, and so he goes spearing in. Swindells there turning in the Pit Road Productions paint job, and well, unfortunately, for as much love as we give Lima Racing, Zippy, it seems that Cedric didn't give PRP much love there, but it was an honest mistake, I'm sure.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to forgive him. As I am very proud. We'll put it on the stream at some point, but there is some logos on his real-life race car that I am very happy about, ladies and gentlemen. It's fair to say it's a biased opinion, and I'm not even going to hide it. Certainly, we're looking to try and get some good pictures of that as we do return to live pictures, ladies and gentlemen. We see Andrew Hartman currently in P4, starting to cut a bit behind him, but Clay Morris has just been able to move himself up into the lead. I believe there may have been a bit of pit strategy. Yes, Shane Larson has been in the pits. Matt Brewer has been in the pits, and the order is indeed starting to shift around here as we're on lap 16 of roughly 26.
So Shane Larson gets onto the hard compound tyre. Asad Nikadambev, meanwhile, is going to be switching to the softs. Now, Nikadambev on softs is going to be a very interesting proposition indeed. So Morris remaining out there on the hards. He's going to try and push them as long as he possibly can. I was interested in the decision by Larson and company to go as long as they did on the soft tyres. I would have been in a few laps earlier, but you know, obviously we can't see inside the drivers' heads. We don't know how hard they can push those softer compound tires. Regardless, keep our eyes peeled on the next takers to pit lane. Doesn't look like any so far on this lap, but Hardman is indeed catching up and has passed Kostek Soavier, because Kostek has decided to come into the pits just ahead of him. So Soavier will swap to the hard compound himself. Now we see what Hardman will be able to do extending this stint on the hards. He's actually making up some really good time here.
Yeah, certainly, and Andrew Hardman is no slouch to strategy or indeed to BIS. He is indeed one of the regulars here, and in the number 3 car for MTC Motorsports, he's doing a lovely job. As you see, a little bit of correction there, definitely keen on the power, it would seem, as he's playing a little bit of catch there with the back end of that car. Fair play to him, but right now he is currently up 5 positions, ladies and gentlemen, resting in P2. Clay Morris about 6.7 seconds ahead, so Clay Morris looking very potent right now. But as I have a look, I can tell you that the top 3 drivers are yet to make a pit, and then other than that, the only other driver not to make it into the box is the number 9, the number 123 car of Phil Nils. Currently
oh no, P9. Hardman! Spin, spin, spin! Oh, what a recovery. Goodness gracious. Well, I think it's time to pit now.
Definitely an interesting early warning system. Have the tyres run out of grip? Send it sideways. I'll take that as a yes. And definitely a very showboat inside, as I just sounded like somebody's gone sideways.
Oh, spun as well.
Let's take a quick look and see what just happened. I heard it in the back of my voice, back of my ears, sorry. And let's see exactly what's gone on there. It's telling me he's had an incident. Let's take a quick look.
Well, Soavier making an error sort of similar to what Broomhead made, and a bit of a slide on the way out of the fast S-bend up the back end of the lap. Those pretty much brand new hard tires not coming up to temperature as quickly as Soavier would like. Nakadambev was the car behind. But yeah, you see, just turning in, that direction change unsettled the rear of the car a bit too much for how much grip the rears were offering at that point. Well, they're certainly going to be warmer now.
The biggest thing, when I see these cars hold the brakes and stuff like that, I'm thinking about flat spotting the tyres. And certainly, if you've ever driven a car without ABS and locked up the brakes afterwards, you'll know very quickly that you get a vibration. Don't get me wrong, you may be able to balance the tyre at a shot, but you're never going to get rid of a flat spot. Certainly, it's going to feel like you're driving on squares, ladies and gentlemen, not the preferred choice. So definitely a good time to go into pits and get fresh rubber. Certainly, you hear about it in World Class Series as well, if they flat spot the tyres and lock up. But I do feel that's a little bit of a disservice there to Mike Broomhead. Don't get me wrong, they did both slide the car, but Broomhead absolutely mullered the thing as a result.
Indeed. To my knowledge, flat spots aren't simulated by iRacing just yet, but they are coming. One of many advances to the tyre model that have been made in recent years. Well, keep our eyes on Soavier for now as he tries to recover from that spin. He's filtered back into 8th spot, should be 7th when Mitch Green comes into the pit lane. Shame there for Kostek. He was having an incredibly good race up until that spin. He got some great pace on. He was leading the charge there for Fury, but yeah, one mistake can put you from a potential podium all the way down to fighting to get inside the top 6.
Well, certainly, and actually, as I have a look at it, Kostek is currently, he's in the same position he started, so thankfully able to recover quite well. But I'm still looking at the timing tower, and Phil Nels is yet to make a pit stop. Certainly, fair play to him. He's getting these hard tyres, still keep going. But I do have to wonder, are you going to reach the point where they just kind of fade off a little bit, or potentially you're not going to get the most time to get the full potential out of the soft tyres? Certainly, yourself, Reese, a bit more of an expert on the tyre strategy. I'm not quite sure how long I would run these myself.
Yeah, I'm not sure either. The one thing that I am sure of is from what drivers told me in the Fixed Indy Australia League last year is that as Nels finally comes into the lane, the soft tyres have their optimum grip for about 3 or 4 laps or so, and of course that depends on the characteristics of the circuit. Then they start dropping off in grip and pace. So the maximum I would push soft tyres here is I'd say around about 10 or 11 laps. Of course, some drivers have gone a little bit further, but they're probably better at managing the tyres than me, as Eric Fenson pogos off the curbs there. The Entropy Sim Sports driver, one of the few Australians in this field, doing well in 7th spot, just coming in for his pit stop in those soft, to get those soft tyres on his car, sorry. Yeah, I don't know how long I would push the hard tyres in these things. Considering the short race format, I ideally want to get onto the soft tyres with about 10 laps remaining. So some drivers have pushed it a bit longer than I would, but again, they're in the cockpit and I'm not.
Yeah, certainly. And I think another thing as well to keep in mind, I do love the fact that we have these switching tyre models. Actually, I do want to take a quick look if we can head over to the battle for P2 right now, because Ozzy Milwain is on that harder compounded tyre and Clay Morris is right behind him. 3 tenths, 4 tenths of a second, and closing in fast. Ladies and gentlemen, in the next 5 laps, can the 48 car, the Radical Canada driver of Clay Morris, make it past one of the previous BiS champions, ladies and gentlemen, Ozzy Milwain, the pro champion for the BiS Radical Canada Cup? Certainly fantastic stuff by him, a very potent driver indeed, but right now he is at a tyre advantage. You see Clay Morris there, putting the nose in a little bit there. He very much knows he's there, and you can see the different levels of grip. Now, we were talking about how long the tyres will last, but there's not just that. As you see Clay Morris on the push to pass, he's going to try and make a move as they head down into turn 1, side by side, and that looked like maybe a little bit of neck coat there. Milwain thankfully able to keep hold of it, but incredibly close racing as they head down in turn 1.
Yeah, Milwain opened the steering at the right time there. Morris was going through no matter what, and so those soft tyres at their maximum grip at the moment. Aussie could do very little to stymie that charge. That's the difference there between the soft and hard tyres, and Milwain has been out on those harder compound tyres for 7 laps. Morris has only been on those softs for 4. That just goes to show you how quickly these alternate compound tyres turn on.
Well, I am seeing that Ian Pagadala has got a black flag, and if I'm not mistaken, it's because he's carrying incidents. The information I have, he's currently got 20 incident points, so he has indeed crossed over that threshold and will be given a drive-through penalty. Certainly not what he had in mind. Definitely, you always want to try and avoid the consequences of the stewards, but actually, as I have a look, it looks like Mauricio Parada, assuming this information is correct, he's currently on 15 incidents as well, so he's definitely going to want to be as well behaved as he can. A black flag could indeed cost him quite a lot in this position.
Yeah, certainly could. I mean, you know, looking at this onboard view from Morris, you can see just how difficult it is to avoid getting off tracks at Barber. It is very much an old school circuit with just grass beyond the racetrack. Well, Mauricio Parada is continuing on for now in P10, but for now, we'll have to wait and see if he can avoid getting over that incident limit. Otherwise, I think we're going to be seeing a couple more black flags from the racing today. Well, Clay Morris is leaving Ozzy Milwain behind. That much is obvious. Back to the lead, Shane Larson continuing here with a 4-second lead over Morris, but we have to remember that Morris is on those alternate compound tyres, and he is making up time here. Probably not the best of runs through the final couple of corners. Larson is holding on to the lead nicely, but a 108.4 on the last lap from our leader. 1 minute 7.7 for Morris. That is a big gain indeed. That is 0.7 of a second over a just under 70-second lap. So keep an eye out for Morris. He might be challenging for the lead very soon, but there's only going to be 2 laps to go when Larson crosses the line next.
Well, certainly, and there is indeed another battle going on for P4 right now. Asad Nikardenbev and Andrew Hardman, they're going wheel-to-wheel, toe-to-toe. As you see there, just 3 tenths, 4 tenths of a second in it, and I believe that may be a little bit of lap traffic ahead of them as well. Not quite sure who it is at this point, as I hear that a crash warning from Michael Broomhead as well, but we're going to leave that on the back burner for the minute. Let's try and work out who it is that's ahead of them. They're on the soft-wall tyres as well. Reese, I'm not sure if you can see on your head, but certainly, you know, they're going to have to keep that in mind when they're trying to make this pass. Certainly, Nikardenbev applying pressure, both himself and Hardman, on the softer compound. And actually, as I have a look, see when these guys pit as well, similar pit stop times. I'm just trying to work out exactly when they went by, as that lap car is now dispensed of, and Hardman continuing to apply pressure to the 230 of Nikardenbev.
Yeah, so both of these guys are on the soft tyres at the moment, but Bev has been out there for 2 laps longer than Hardman. So I think Andrew is going to be the one with the advantage here. His tyres have got more to give. He can push them harder in these closing stages. Every single extra lap that you have on these tyres when it comes down to it is going to be less overall time that you have to gain, less you can push them. Hardman has been gaining big on Bev over the last few laps, and I think them navigating Phil Nels, the now lapped car, played a factor in that. So see what Bev can do to hold him off here. Larson, meanwhile, up at the front of the field, is about to take the white flag. 26 laps distance for our racers here tonight. And, well, Larson still holding on to a lead of about 3 seconds over Morris. But tell you what, any sort of mistake from Larson and Morris is going to be right on him. See, there's the gap right there.
Well, it's certainly good to see that Barney is indeed he's back and he's doing his duty. Certainly we've seen on Pit Road Productions he's been slacking a little bit there, and there's Clay Morris right there in the background applying pressure. But the battle does indeed continue between Bev and Hardman, and there's a battle going on for P9 as well. I'm just going to tell you about that one very briefly. Matt Brewer and Mauricio Parada. I can tell you that Mauricio is currently running 16 incident points as Hardman goes alongside Bev. Can they get the pass done cleanly? And it looks like Bev has gone, okay, this isn't worth fighting in this corner. Can he potentially fight back before the end of the lap? Ladies and gentlemen, it is indeed the white flag lap, and these guys are both applying the pressure. The push to pass as well. Well, incredibly close action.
Yeah, crazy close indeed. Last few corners for Shane Larson, meanwhile. The gap has been falling down to Clay Morris, but it's not going to be enough. Larson gone to the championship lead with a great result at Motorsport last round, and he is going to continue that charge with winning race 1 here at Barber Motorsports Park. Bev, can he get back by Hardman? No. Looks like that's going to be his last chance done right there. Under half a second, the gap between them. Now the question becomes, can Mauricio Parada get into the top 9? Matt Brewer, teammate at the Hyperion Racing Team to Shane Larson. And it looks like he's done enough to hold off Mauricio in these last few corners. Of course, Parada's going to be very careful not to get another off track here. Nice and tight to the inside, but it's covered by Brewer. Big slide over the gravel for the both of them, and that's going to be the order they finish in.
I think that was definitely one of the mind punch strategies there, ladies and gentlemen. I don't think he thought he was going to get a pass, but he certainly wanted to see if he could give Brewer something to think about and maybe shake him a little bit. But ladies and gentlemen, that just about brings this race to a close. Let's take a look at the provisional results so far. As obviously somebody's fighting with their chopper there. Rather nice.
Very nice indeed. Shane Larson winning by 2.6 seconds over Clay Morris. Aussie Millwane completing the podium. Very nice job there from Aussie. Well, Andrew Hardman as well making a great charge here from 7th to 4th. Asad Bev running out the top 5, but Eric Fenson, one of the biggest gainers in the field, up 6 spots there, with Kostek Soavier finishing in 7th. Could have been a potential podium for him if not for that spin. Mitch Green will finish in 8th after his unfortunate lap 1. Matt Brewer and Mauricio Parada will round out your top 10. Then Ariane Pagadala, a lap down in 11th place, had to take a run through the pits for exceeding the incident limit. Phil Nels will finish behind him. Swindales, O'Hyan and Broomhead rounding out your top 15. That'll give Michael the pole position for race 2. And then Matthew Mileman, unfortunately unable to make it to the finish. Same for Caden Goodridge and Nicholas Colander as well. I don't believe Colander even took to the start. So that is your results from race 1, Zippy. Now we get to swap that top 15 and go all over again. I'm looking forward to this.
Oh, absolutely, Reece. Certainly, Mike Broomhead definitely being a jammy bugger, able to go and sit himself on the pole for the race 2. Certainly, I think that's how I think that is how I did get a podium once at a BIS event. Certainly using the most of the that inverted grid. But ladies and gentlemen, let's take a quick little video here from one of our sponsors. second, I can let you know that that is not a real spider, and if it is, I am moving. Certainly, Barber Motorsport Park is in Alabama. Actually, Reese, I'd say that's that kind of spider would probably be more at home in your homeland, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, indeed. I think I saw a huntsman in my toilet of about that size yesterday. I do love the sculptures here at Barber Motorsports Park, though. It's a beautiful location. Not only do we have the great sculptures around the circuit, we've also got a full-on museum at the racetrack as well. Roundabout on the exit of turn 8 and 9, I believe. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to potentially making a visit to the United States sometime in the future. If I ever do make it over there, I'm definitely going to be attending that museum here at this racetrack. And what a beautiful racetrack it is.
Well, don't get me wrong, Reese. I definitely understand wanting to go see some of the racetracks in America, but I do believe that you're going to have to come over to Nova Scotia as well, or indeed we'll meet probably somewhere in Ontario. We'll figure it out. I would love to very much meet my my finest Australian co-host. Ladies and gentlemen, actually my only Australian co-host. So that really narrows it down a little bit there. But fair play to him. It's been a good couple of seasons so far, Reese. We've certainly been in here. Now, look at that headshot. You've actually aged a little bit there, I've got to admit. And indeed was indeed our last show after I've just gone and offended him with such a comment. But I can tell you currently out in practice though is Caden Goodridge, so hopefully he is feeling a little bit better. Certainly cramp is not a fun experience. And also as well, random off topic, but if you want to see some of our commentators indeed driving, check them out on Twitch, ladies and gentlemen. Southport Racers, certainly Reese Gardner driving a classic Formula series for R Factor 2.
Yes, so yeah, I do like my historic racing, and I'm very active with HRSC, the Historic Racing Sports Community. Yes, that is it. Actually, this weekend they are running their Targa Sicilia Rinascita, which is basically a virtual Targa Florio in 1960s sports cars. I'm going to be driving in that with my good mate Matt Wright, and we'll see what we can do to win the Sports 1.3 class. In any case, yeah. Thanks very much for the plug, Zippy. Hope to see you there sometime on Saturday. Of course, I know that you have commitments here on Pit Road Productions as well, and we'll see what we can do from there. Well, for now, we'll keep our eyes peeled on the remainder of warm-up, of which there isn't going to be any. That is warm-up completely done. Checkered flag. And now we'll move on into the grid for race 2.
Yeah, I was just actually thinking, how many followers do we need to get you for you to do it in the classic outfit as well from the 60s and goggles and all? Certainly, I'm thinking about this, just thinking how achievable it is. But let's take a quick look at the grid now that you've got that very authentic and albeit wholesome image of Reese Gardner in 60s attire in your mind. But ladies and gentlemen, Michael Broomhead is going to be sat there on the pole with Cedric O'Hyan for Lima Racing there in second. As we head to the second row, Richard Swindell's the Pit Road Productions finest is going to be in third alongside Phil Nels in fourth. As we head to the third row, Ian Pagadala, hopefully he's recovered well there. He's going to be in P5 with Mauricio Ferrada in sixth. Heading back a little bit further, Matt Brewer, he does a fantastic job getting that P7 alongside Mitch Green. He's looking for a stronger race here this time around. And then P9, Kostek Solowedge is there alongside the Australian driver of Eric Benson, closing out your top 10.
Moving on into 11th, Assad Nikadembev starting in 11th alongside Andrew Hardman. In lucky 13th position will be Aussie Milwane with Clay Morris alongside. Our top 15 rounded out by our Race 1 winner Shane Larson. And then Matthew Mailman looking for a bit of redemption from what wasn't a very good race for him in race 1. Caden Goodridge will certainly be hoping for the same. Nicholas Colander once again is on the grid here. We'll see what he can do to make it beyond the pit lane. He did not take to the start of race 1, but he is here for race 2. So Rust Racing do have a car starting at the back there. How far can the number 5 emerge? Coming around the formation lap, another slow motion tour around Barber Motorsports Park. It is a very wide circuit, I have to say, but you know, its twisty and compact nature does make those passes a bit difficult.
Well, definitely, and I do love the elevation change as well. It's definitely not the most dramatic of all the circuits that we're going to visit, but certainly it has a good, healthy amount. But I want to talk about tire strategy very quickly there, Reese. If I have a look at the top three, they have all gone for the softer tires, sorry. And then it's not until you get down to P7. So you've got three softs, three hards, a soft, and then all the way down to P11 are hards again. So a very eclectic, very varied mix here. You see there on your timing screen, you can see the variety of tire compounds. So certainly, I do think a couple of these drivers are going to struggle out of the box. But I've got to say, I'm agreeing with the softer compound for the start. Don't get me wrong. If you're a bit further back in the field, it may not be the most optimum. But certainly, if I'm Broomhead, Ohio, and Swindells, I am absolutely going to try and take the softs, get as much heat to them as quickly as I can, and try and run away from the rest of the field.
Yeah, I think that's the ideal marker at the moment here. You know, the start of race one, I would understand why drivers up the front would decide to go for the hard compound, because they've got the pace to get those tires up to temperature quickly and find their way to that gap regardless. But if you had a bad race one, if you know that you have the pace to make that gap, like Broomhead obviously does, he was running in the top 10 before his incident. So, yeah. Basically, I agree with you, Zippy. He's going to be trying to gap them as much as he possibly can, and I think Swindells and Ohio will want to do the same as well. Hopefully, Swindells and Ohio can avoid each other in turn one this time.
Certainly, I always have to give myself a little bit of a mental checkup, and I do whenever I'm watching a race. When you go around lap one, warm-up lap, I'm like, cold tires, cold tires, cold tires, and you've really got to keep that in mind. Don't get me wrong, you can't overdo it. You will find very quickly you may get a little bit of encouragement in terms of a punting from the rear end. It's a vicious balance, but we're getting ready to go hot there. You see Michael Broomhead is going to lead us off. Not yet on the gas. Richard Swindell's primed and ready to go right behind. We see Iron Packard close over as Broomhead hits the gas. Barney's ready with the green flag. He's holding it like a magic wand. And ladies and gentlemen, there we go. And you already see Mauricio Parada looking to make a move very early on there as the rest of the field comes in, including the pace car.
Yeah, indeed. Barney waving that green flag like mad. Michael Broomhead already off to a half a second lead. Phil Nell's now desperately trying to keep everyone behind him. He's under the attack, though. Mitch Green's going to get up the inside of him, and it looks like, oh no, Eric Fenson thought about following him, but it looks like that was Sauvier that got into him.
I think Clay Morris may have indeed had to almost step over Fenson there as well. I think he got caught in that hit. Currently, Morris is up. Well, actually, I say he's up. He's just gone down one position. I do want to have a look at his front wing. It's Phil Nels by the look of it. Getting a little bit of curve there. Is that Phil Nels?
Yeah, it is. Unfortunate there for Phil. He's fallen back to 13th place. And, well, that fourth place start for him certainly not going to work out. Everyone muscling past him now on the first lap. So, recap of the damage that we saw from that incident in turn 5. Both Shane Larson and Clay Morris have lost half of their front wings here. Sauvier's going to come into the pit lane. It looks like Morris is going to follow him in because the front right is askew on the number 48.
Oh, I'm just looking at the meatball flags we've got available. Matthew Mailman, he's just picked one up just a second ago as well. As has Ozzy Milwayne, he's carrying one as well. But even then, you can see Shane Larson, he's not got that meatball flag, but he does indeed have damage. And that's Caden Goodrich right behind him. We know that this guy can drive as long as his foot's going to allow it, that is. As he's there, makes that move. It's pretty much a slam dunk in that scenario. Starting to kind of right ahead of him. I can tell you that Kostek has indeed cleared a meatball flag. He's up and out of the pits now, ladies and gentlemen. But battles continuing throughout. But I can tell you that Mike Broomhead currently in the lead by about 1.1 seconds. Ohio there in second. Getting a bit of pressure there from Ian Pagadala, who's currently up 2 spots in third.
Yep, this is the points opportunity that Pagadala needs after his unfortunate crash in race 1. Same for Broomhead as well, in fact. He also had a potential race-ending crash that he fortunately had a fast repair in hand to recover from. Well, it looks like we have our first retirement here. Mailman, no, actually, my apologies. He has managed to get that fast repair done. Well, everyone's going to be back out on track for now, but there's a battle. Ariane Pagadala trying to keep Mauricio Parada behind him here. And, oh, there's a bit of contact. Parada getting the move done on Pagadala there. Mauricio is actually on quite a run here for the moment. Don't forget, he only qualified 10th for race 1. Looks like here at the start of race 2, he's worked this car out.
I'm actually, the more I'm thinking about it, the more I'm watching Mauricio Parada, he just seems to be quite aggressive today. Don't get me wrong, you definitely want to try and make the moves where they can, but I do wonder if it would be beneficial to just dial it back just a smidge, like a bit more control, as Ian Pagadala almost loses it there. Definitely was flirting with the limits of grip, as you see from the rear view wing there of the 81 car of Mauricio Pagadala. But this is exactly what Cedric O'Hyan and indeed Michael Broomhead are going to want to happen. They want these people to keep on fighting, but there is another battle happening further back as well as you go there through turn 1. Richard Swindell is currently under attack from Mitch Green and Andrew Hardman. Both of these guys very capable drivers. Actually, all three of these guys very capable drivers, but certainly Richard Swindell is one of the more seasoned gentlemen, not necessarily in terms of driving experience, but in terms of life experience, ladies and gentlemen. He's currently there in the number 16 car, and he is going to absolutely be hoping that Mitch Green and Hardman keep going side by side, and that is exactly what they've done. These guys toe to toe, wheel to wheel, neck to neck, as it didn't look like they quite managed to get the move done as they continue to go side by side.
Yeah, looks like Hardman there on a bit of push to pass on the way out of the hairpin, and he's managed to get the move done very nicely. Now he'll turn his attention to Swindells, who himself is on push to pass as well. I'm not sure why we're looking at the team names there in the timing tower. It's been fixed. Thank you for that. Richard Swindells will continue staying ahead. Hardman pushing incredibly hard, and you know he wants this. You know, he finished 4th in race 1, all the way back to 12th, up to 7th. He's going to be perhaps the biggest gainer in this field right now, up 6 spots. In fact, Goodridge, I think, has gained more spots for the time being, but we'll have to wait and see on that one. Mitch Green will try and stick with Hardman here to make their way past Swindells, who we know loves his IndyCar racing, but he's going to have him looking up the inside here. Almost went defensive there, did Richard. A little bit of a lock-up from the number 3, but Hardman is through.
Well, certainly, and Swindells knows he's not going to fight some of the. He's not going to try to push some of these guys that he knows have got a little bit of pace on them. He's going to hope for the safe race. He's very much a low risk, high reward driver, and certainly that's exactly how he's been able to do so well at BIS, ladies and gentlemen. Certainly, the F1600 Championship, he had a pretty respectable result. All things considered, certainly been keeping him busy with the commentary side as well, as much as he likes to chew my ear off about it, and indeed everybody else who watches the stream. Fair play to him, but he does do a good job. But ladies and gentlemen, right now Mike Broomhead has extended that gap to 1.8 seconds, almost 2 seconds now, to Cedric O'Hyan. Mauricio Parada 1.7 seconds back off of O'Hyan, but Ian Pagadala very much involved in that battle there. They're going to be applying pressure very shortly there to the number 81 of Parada.
Yeah, Pagadala obviously has some incredible pace on board his car. There's a reason why he was competing up the front for the first part of the season, but yeah, Barber has not been the best of times for him. Pagadala needs to keep an eye out for Hardman as well, because yeah, made up 0.5 of a second on that previous lap, did Hardman, and he's one of the drivers who's charging through on those soft tires. Pagadala going for the hard tire first run. Will this help him out? Parada doesn't have any clear disadvantage on the tires at the moment. He's on the hards too, so that just makes Pagadala's job even harder, but he's going to try and get up the inside anyway here through the final sector, and the move is complete through the sweeper. Pagadala's back onto the podium.
I got to admit, that was a fantastic pass, but look what's occurred behind him now. Andrew Hardman is going to be in the mix, and Hardman's definitely no slouch when it comes to racing, as these guys looking to go side by side into turn 1. I got a feeling Hardman's going to probably sit back a little bit unless the door miraculously opens. He can see that indeed these guys may come to contact, and I've certainly not ruled it out either, as they are literally inches away. That rear wing gets any closer, he is going to shovel Pagadala off the track. Certainly not the move you want to go for, as the defensive line there from the number 19 car gets a little bit of braking. And you see Hardman thinking about making a move on the inside of Parada, backs out of it. Fair play to him, and you can see as well Mitch Green looking to maybe start getting involved in this fight as well. The more these guys battle, the more O'Hyan is going to pull away, and not only that, the more Mitch Green and the Swindells and Goodridge will start to come into the battle.
Yeah, that decision by Broomhead and Ohio to get on the soft tyres to start with has proven to be one of the best decisions of the night. They are leading by a very long way, and these guys are struggling to really make up any of that time. And not only are they on the slower tyre, they are having to battle with each other. Andrew Hardman, a little bit stuck at the moment. Parada was able to place his car very well at the hairpin there to cover off a potential over-under from him. But now we'll see those soft tyres for Hardman come back into play through these very long sweeping corners. Easier to overheat, of course, are the alternate compounds. We'll see what he can do on his way out here. From second to fourth, all of them on the push to pass. Hardman sticks in the push to pass a little bit further, but it's covered again by Parada.
I'm starting to wonder as well where it's almost like you could almost do with a second pit stop as well to get some fresh rubber, because the softer tyre just doesn't have that much life in it. I wonder if Hardman's managing the tyres at this point, because he goes, okay, I know I need to make it to this lap. I can fight, get this one position, but realistically, it's going to cost me more in the long run.
Yeah.
I wonder if there's a bit of tyre strategy going on at this point. Maybe he's decided that, you know what, risk versus reward. Parada's quite aggressive today. Maybe he's decided, you know what, I don't think I want to put my nose in this. But you see Mitch Green has absolutely slingshotted up behind him. And Mitch Green, not only that, is on the harder tyres as well. So is Hardman going to have to start doing a defensive battle, as it looks like Pagadala's cut up to a high end, and they go side by side through the final turn.
Whoa. And Pagadala's been forced wide, and there's contact. Mauricio Parada's wing almost disappears there. This has turned into a very messy fight. Hardman trying to make up that time. Mitch Green is caught back up to him in the midst of all of this. This is a 5-car train for second place. This is insane.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to tell you that the start of the card on Bev is 1.3 seconds off of this battle as well. So we may indeed expand even further. You can see him at the back of the shot there. As you see Hardman looking to make a move on the outside, but Parada thought about defending there, and Hardman's got the line, and he's absolutely claimed it. Nothing that Parada can do. Very close up the rear wing, and it looks like Mitch Green's going to try and get one as well. Parada very much under the attack right now. As you can see further up, Pagadala looking to apply more pressure to the 36 car, the Lima Racing Machine of Cedric Ohio.
And Parada also ran off the track there, just behind. They're swapping places, Parada and Green, as Hardman gets the show of his life here. The big move from Marianne Pagadala. Cedric Ohio decides, yep, these softs are done. I am going to jump into the pits. And interesting little bit of info for Ohio. He only has 2 seconds of push to pass left. He's almost done with that extra power. So, okay, Pagadala off in turn 2 as well. This has turned into a crazy race. Now Nakadambev is looking for an option here. Oh my
contact.
God, this is getting really messy. Pagadala locking up into the hairpin there, and he will lose touch with the battle.
I have a feeling that these two drivers have clashed in the previous round, Reese. I don't think Pagadala and Parada are the best of friends, and certainly not the best of terms. I'm going to keep my eye on the Discord after the race just to see if anything kicks up. While we do enjoy a good show, we definitely want to keep it respectable here at BIS. It's only indeed a pit road production. So don't get me wrong, we do have another channel in the works where it can indeed get a little bit spicy, but we're going to keep that under wraps right now. As Mauricio Parada is now going toe-to-toe with Mitch Green. I say that, it was side by side, and then he's just dropped back quite heavily. I'm not quite sure what just happened there.
Yeah, I'm not sure either, honestly. What is for sure is Asad Nakadambev played all of that perfectly and finds himself in third here. And I think he might keep that third place once Ohio cycles back through. Pagadala's decided to go for pit lane, meanwhile. And no surprise there. Those hards are definitely done with 11 laps actually complete in the race. So, yeah, I don't know. It might be a little bit early to go for the softs, at least if I was in one of these cars. But I'm sure Pagadala will be able to make it work. He can potentially get an undercut on everyone ahead of him and maybe get himself free of this position he's been mired in.
Oh, I have a feeling that was more to pit to get that front wing fixed, I think, Reese. I think that's what's happened. Don't get me wrong, asking so many laps, 15 laps from the soft tyre, I think it's going to be a bit ambitious. But at this point, do you just try and coast it and make those tyres last, or do you just absolutely send it? A lot of smoke on that corner. Something must have locked up there. But do you absolutely send it and go for the two stopper? Certainly a tough call, as I believe something's happened with Kostek. Lap 10, the number 64 car has indeed been involved in an incident.
Kostek Solovier has not had a good race too, and it looks like he made a similar mistake to what we saw from Pagadala in race 1, but not quite. The car just got super unstable through the final sector, and away he went into the grass. Fortunately, he kept it out of the wall. He's avoided getting damage. This is what happened to him here. So he's going to make his way down here, and you see the rear end was just dancing around a little. It didn't get settled in time for the next corner, so Solovier had to do a bit of lawn mowing there.
Well, certainly the groundskeepers will indeed appreciate that. It's been a rough night for him, poor fella, but I actually want to catch up here. We've got a couple of battles going on, and it looks like we've got potentially a freeway fight starting at P7. Nicholas Glander currently showing us up 11 spots, ladies and gentlemen. This is a great improvement from him. Phil Nels right behind it, and Cedric O'Hyan has actually just made a pass on Phil Nels as well. Cedric O'Hyan out there on the harder tyres. It's actually Phil Nels. She's got passed by Pagadala as well, so definitely something going on there. Phil Nels maybe deciding, you know what, these guys are a little bit quicker than me, and understandably so. A lot of curb taken by Pagadala there, but I do have to wonder, is Pagadala going to be driving like the wheels are on fire, or is he going to try and make these tyres last? And at the minute, I don't think he's going for the endurance strategy, Reese. I think he is absolutely milking that thing, that if he goes any harder, he's going to have cheese.
Yeah, indeed. They've come up on Colander now, who is stuck on those hard tyres for a while now. Both O'Hyan and Pagadala are on fresh tyres, and they made contact, and oh no, this has worked out terribly for the both of them. Pagadala trying to go for the move there. I think that O'Hyan might have been a bit early on the brakes for Pagadala's tastes there. That's such a shame. They both set themselves up for the rest of the race after their pit stops. We will never be able to see how that would have worked out for them. Oh, man.
I definitely want to see a replay of that. Like, I have a feeling this was one of those things where you got a little bit too hot behind the collar, just gone for it. I mean, that's not a braking zone. It's just straight into the back there. High enough. I wouldn't mind seeing it from another angle as well. Like, don't get me wrong, if there's a gap there to the white line, I'm going to be a little bit more understanding. But that to me just seemed, honestly, a little bit reckless from the view I've had so far.
On board from Pagadala would be good. I think that would be a good option. Because, yeah, you're right. That second last corner there, it's one of those turns where you do need to get on the brakes a bit earlier than you think to make the corner. And Pagadala, I think, was focused on getting past Colander, not realizing that the Lima car up ahead was slowing down early for the corner, because obviously he would. It's a tight run into the turn there, stuck on the inside. And secondary contact as well, as O'Hyan tried to recover it. Both cars now pretty much out of the running, but looks like at least O'Hyan has been able to make it back out on the track, taking his fast repair. And Phil Nels, in the midst of all of that, has gotten a mechanical black flag as well. Remember, he was in the midst of all of that too.
Yeah, I mean, fair play to Phil on that one. It was so close by, you'd have a hard time avoiding it. I do see the eye in, like, Pagadala, like, I do see the gap that they were going for, but it was a gap that was always going to close. And I feel like, don't get me wrong, I'm definitely no Jimmer, but Jimmy Broadbent, I do enjoy watching his sim racing steward videos. He puts a very polite and humorous spin on when people get it wrong, and I feel that he's going to explain that. I mean, maybe we should submit the clip for him, get a little bit of broadcast time for Pit Road Productions on Jimmy Broadbent's channel. That's a fantastic idea, ladies and gentlemen. But I do feel that that gap was closing, and it was always going to close. You see a little bit of contact there between Caden Goodrich and Mauricio Parada. Certainly, I do feel maybe I'm a little bit spicy today, Reese, but I do feel a couple of these drivers really putting the elbows out a little bit too much.
Yeah, it hasn't been the cleanest of races, has it? This particular round. I think it's a combination of, I don't know, maybe less cars here at the circuit today, more of a chance for points, combine that with a track that doesn't really facilitate easy passes, and so you have drivers a bit more willing to push harder in order to get those moves done, as Goodrich and Parada will find their way into pit lane from here. Continuing on is Mitch Green. He'll find his way past the both of them. And, well, the only other cars that have yet to come into the lane are our top three, Broomhead, Hardman and Green, and also Colander running in 9th spot. Broomhead has made these soft tyres last way longer than I expected anyone would. He is going to have to switch to those hards, and he does have enough of an advantage over Hardman that he would be able to keep that advantage. But yeah, I think they've been put into this very unique position where everyone behind has just been squabbling so much that all Broomhead and Hardman have had to do is just hit their marks, and they've been granted this incredible lead.
I do have to wonder at this point if, while it is incredible that he's managed to make these soft tyres last 16 laps, I do feel he probably should have pitted earlier. The soft tyre is only going to... something's happened with the number 5 car, Nicholas Glander. I do see he's got a black flag. I'm going to go and check the incident point side of things. It tells me...
He's sped into the pit lane. Oh, man.
Zippy special.
Yep. Easy to do here at Barber. It's a difficult pit entry, to say the least. So it's unfortunate there for Colander. And that's one of the worst black flags you can get, speeding into the lane, because it grants you something like a 44-second or something like that stop and hold added to your pit stop time. So Nick's going to be in there for a while.
I can indeed verify that depending on the severity depends on how harshly it gives you the time penalty. I know that I think the smallest one is 15 seconds, then it cranks up to 40, and then it can even go over a minute. Ask me how I know, ladies and gentlemen. I've been good at collecting those. Certainly whenever I drive a Porsche Carrera Cup, it would seem a little bit of understeer from Broomhead, and he still has not bring it into the pits. Somebody may want to remind this guy that he does indeed need to take both tyre compounds for this race.
Yeah, this is the longest I've seen anyone take the soft tyres, both Broomhead and Hardman. Mitch Green, I understand, after 17 laps, he's finally decided to give those hard compound tyres a rest. We'll see if that grants him anything. In the midst of all of it, it looks like he'll come out almost level with Assad Nikardembev. I'm not entirely sure, but the run is complete through the pits there for Mitch Green, and he'll emerge back onto the racetrack, and Nikardembev will pass him. Assad Nikardembev is now on the podium.
Well, certainly, I'm honestly not surprised. Nikardembev, when he's having a good day, he is a very potent driver. I'm not going to knock him. He is indeed very potent, and fair play to him. You know, he does a lot of driving. He's been around BiS for a while as well. Don't get me wrong, it's not half his life. He's not that young, ladies and gentlemen, but certainly he is a potent driver. But definitely a bit of a shame to see Clay Morris has indeed retired. He got a meatball flag, cleared it, and then just said, you know what, I'm done for the day. But I do wonder if Broomhead has actually remembered he's on the softer compound at this point himself. And Hardman, they have finally come down pit road. Let's see where Nikardembev is going to emerge in all of that. He is the highest ranked driver right now, currently in P3, who has been through the pit box. Is it going to be enough to slingshot him there up into P1?
I think it is. I think it might be, because he's coming up to the final couple of corners now. Broomhead and Hardman have only just completed their stops. Oh, it looks like Nikardembev is going to come out behind them, but remember that Broomhead and Hardman are on the hard tyres, and they're going to be massively slow here on the outlap. So Nikardembev has a chance to catch them up here in the final 7 laps of the race.
Yeah, he's just 3.8 seconds behind Andrew Hardman. Actually, speaking of which, Hardman are able to really close up to Broomhead in that. If I have a look at the box times, just a tenth of a second between the box, but on the lane itself, 0.6 of a second. So Hartman must have really caught up to Broomhead heading down pit road. But you can see there, maybe a bit of lap traffic involved as well. Was that Phil Nels ahead? Something our director will be able to expand on that. If not, I know Reese is very good at working it out. And it looks like Phil may be looking to get out of the way. But the lead battle right now between P1 and P2 is Broomhead versus Hartman. Now, these two gentlemen did used to be teammates, both for Britannia iSports. Actually, Mike now driving for Doppler Britannia iSports. And don't get me wrong, these guys are friends, but I don't think they're about to particularly gift a position as actually Assad and Cardenbev. I could have sworn that gap was 3.7 seconds. Ladies and gentlemen, 2 seconds now. Obviously, Phil Now's really bottlenecking these two guys. Let's just hope that Cardenbev doesn't have the same experience. Mitch Green in hot pursuit as well. It's going to be a very spicy battle in the closing stages of this race.
Big slide from Broomhead through turn 1, and it's the stone cold hard tires. Remember, IndyCars don't use tire warmers, so these tires are at ambient temperature when they get onto the car. For Broomhead, that's going to result in a poor run through the first sector and Hartman to the lead of the race, but they still haven't warmed these tyres up fully yet. At a track like Barber, it'd take 2-3 laps to get the tyres up to temperature here. Cardenbev has already been out on those alternate compound tyres for 5 laps, so they're well and truly up to temp, and he'll be fighting his way through for sure. I tell you what, Mitch Green has joined him as well. Out of nowhere, I see Mitch Green there behind Assad Cardenbev. We got a 4-way battle for the lead on our hands here.
Oh, absolutely. And I got to be honest, I would be absolutely shaking in my helmet if I knew that those two guys were coming up behind me, especially at the speed that they're doing. All that Hartman and Broomhead can hope was that Cardenbev and Green will fight each other as we see another lap car ahead. We'll confirm who that is in just a short moment. Hopefully does not get in the way of the lead battle. Certainly we'd have to check on the blue flag. Oh, actually, sorry, my apologies. That's Hartman. My apologies there. Brady part, ladies and gentlemen. As you can see there, Broomhead definitely, Hartman's currently pulling away. It's about 0.8 of a second, and definitely the draft as well will potentially be a factor in this. Don't ask me if it's going to be a possible negative effect. You see Cardenbev very much getting a good look at Broomhead, but Mitch Green, he is almost side by side there, and yep, they're side by side. This is exactly what the 00 is going to want. He's going to need those two gentlemen to start fighting, albeit a younger gentleman. And oh dear.
Oh, Broomhead with a... Yeah, slight connection issue there for Broomhead. Colander pulling over to let these guys go. He's been out there for 2 laps now, and unfortunately losing all of that time. Now back into 11th is our number 5 machine. But keep our eyes peeled on this battle, because, now Cardenbev and Green may be stumbling over each other, and that might give Andrew Hartman the advantage that he needs in this lead.
At this point, if I was Hartman, I would almost be begging Broomhead to be saying, look, please defend for me. But they're not on the same team anymore. Hartman's, I think it's MTC Motorsports, if I remember rightly. So, I don't think there's going to be any team tactics involved. Certainly, everybody's going to be into this one for themselves. And maybe, it's almost like, if you think about Formula One, for example, like Hamilton always had a good amount of respect there for Valtteri Bottas, even when they switched teams. And certainly I think there may be a little bit of that. Carlos Sainz as well, another driver with a lot of respect for previous teammates as well. A little bit of love there for Lando. But you have got to wonder if such a scenario is going to come into play. But right now, Hartman has pulled away 1.4 seconds. Broomhead is going to be first on the chopping block, and he is very much at a tyre disadvantage in the closing stages with just 4 laps left to go.
Yeah, it looks like Hartman skipped away now to enough of a lead that he might be able to defend from Cardenbev and Green. And speaking of those two in 3rd and 4th, well, Cardenbev has tyres that are 3 laps older than Mitch Green's. Now, that doesn't seem like much of a gap, but it's also the amount of time that the soft tyres are at their best, or roughly. So that means that Mitch Green definitely has a good advantage over our 3rd place runner at the moment. Hartman here is just sitting pretty at the front of the field, set a 1:08.3 on the last lap, and Green and Cardenbev will continue their fight just behind him. They're side by side. Cardenbev has pushed Mitch Green a bit wide there, and it looks like we are going to have that battle worked out between them for now, but Green clearly has the pace to get this done. He just needs to put his car in the right place.
Well, certainly he may have the pace, but that's not going to help him if he stays in P4, and it's exactly what Broomhead is gonna need. Certainly, hopefully we get a little bit of a replay of that in just a moment. See if these guys can. Oh, as I say that, Mitch Green just tipped a little bit of a wheel there in the grass, but very much able to keep the car on track, and this is exactly what Broomhead's going to be hoping for. He's still 1.3 seconds back from Hardman, but the more these guys fight, the more Broomhead can potentially hold on to a P2.
Yeah, here we go then. Keep Mitch Green in your sights here, because he had one go at Asad Nakadenbev at the hairpin, and he also has a push-to-pass advantage as well. 53 seconds of extra power remaining on Mitch Green's car, only 8 seconds left for Nakadenbev, so Asad doesn't have much to defend with here. Look at the fight there from Mitch Green out of the corner. He is really nailing that braking zone.
Actually, that's a good call out on the push to pass, because I just checked in on Hardman and Broomhead's 92 and 94 seconds. So I definitely think there's been some strategy involved. They knew they're going to need to try and defend it in the closing stages of the race. And at the minute, Hardman's just got it in reserve. He's setting good, clean laps. He's enjoying it. Actually, last lap, ladies and gentlemen, 108.6 for Hardman, 108.6 for Broomhead. As they go side by side, Mitch Green's still not able to get it done. Nakadenbev absolutely defending the living stuffing with that IndyCar.
Yeah, certainly. Well, he doesn't have the extra power on the car, or much of it remaining, so might as well try and make that car as wide as possible. Position his car perfectly on the inside of one of the fastest corners on this racetrack. We've got to be gentle on our way through, because this is a potential big points haul for the both of these guys. Hardman, he's gone. He's 1.7 seconds ahead of Broomhead. It's another second or so back to these two. So I think they're just going to have to keep their eyes out for each other and sort out this final spot on the podium. Contact side by side down the straight. Green is ahead on the way in, but Nakadenbev, last of the late breakers, firing it in. This is a great battle.
It really is, and it looks like Mitch Green is not yet ready to give up as they go. Almost got it side by side, did very briefly, but not enough to contend the corner as the battle just continues. Mike Broomhead's just gone on the push to pass there. He's just used a couple of seconds there of that. As we have a check-in with that, Mitch Green down to 32 seconds. Nakadenbev, 1 second left. He really is a sitting duck at this point. If Mitch Green gets to run, gets the position, and smashes the go-go juice, he may indeed be able to slingshot himself up onto the podium.
White flag is going to be coming very shortly. And in fact, it has already come for Andrew Hardman. So now the question is, who's going to finish third? Looks like Broomhead is safe from these two. They're too involved with each other to really have any chance of finishing further up. Nakadenbev blocking Mitch Green there on the exit of the corner, trying around the outside. Nakadenbev doing the Verstappen thing and going deep into the corner. Green just recovering the slide. I don't know if he's going to be too happy with Asad for that one, but what it has done is it's given Asad the gap he needs to try and defend that third place. Man, this is insane.
This is an incredible fight going on right now, and I can tell you that Mitch Green is back on the push to pass. He's pretty much out at this point. 5 seconds left, 4 seconds left. It really is. If he's going to make a move, he's going to have to do it on pure mechanical grip alone. He's going to have to try and force Nakadenbev into a mistake. And don't get me wrong, Nakadenbev has indeed been keeping a very close eye on his mirror, as Andrew Hardman is going to bring it there across the line. A very well-deserved win, up 11 spots. Broomhead is going to hold on for second place, but we're going to go back because it's going to be almost a drag race down to the line. I do wonder if there will be any incident review after that. Certainly, I'm not going to be involved in it unless called upon, but some very, very spicy racing here at Barber.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And tell you what, well done to Andrew Hardman. He was able to get those hard tyres switched on and take advantage of his great pace in the first part of the race as well. Up from 12th to the win. That is a significant run up for Andrew Hardman. And also credit to Nakadenbev. He started outside the top 10 and gets a podium for his troubles. So there's been some great performances in this race, but as you do say, Zippy, very spicy indeed. A little bit of that Alabama barbecue, bringing some good flavor to this round of the Doppler BiS Indycar Championship. Well, our race results will shortly be coming up on the screen, just waiting on Kostek Soavier to be the final car across the line. And Andrew Hardman winning from Broomhead and Nakardambev, with Green trying his best to make it onto the podium. Did not work. Asad Nakardambev defending like an animal, with Parada rounding out the top 5. Not a bad run from Parada there. Goodridge making a good recovery from his torrid race 1 up to 6th spot, nearly where he qualified for race 1. Shane Larson making it up from 15th to 7th. Could definitely have been worse there for our championship leader. Richard Swindells gets a top 10 for his troubles, with Kostek Soavier finishing where he started in 9th, and Cedric O'Hyan rounding out your top 10.
We head back there to P11. Nicholas Colander for Russ Racing was there with Phil Nels, who actually did pick up a meatball flag at the end as well, but still manages to hold on to P12. Clay Morris, sadly, something went on with him. He's there in P13. Okay, I remember that big incident actually. With Ian Pagadala in 14th. Eric Fenson, the Australian driver, sadly enough, did get an early retirement for P15. Matthew Mailman in 16th, with Matt Brewer in 17th, and Ozzie Milwain closing out the field in 18th position.
Yeah, oh boy, what a race, what a round from Barber Motorsports Park. It looks like we have drivers jumping in for their chats here, and I get the feeling that the first driver we should have a chat to is indeed the number 3 of Andrew Hardman. Welcome, Andrew. 4th in race 1, win in race 2. A great points haul for you tonight. Really, it was the pit strategy in race 2, plus Michael having his issues getting the tyres warmed up, that helped you get there in the second race tonight.
Yeah, it did. I must say my ego was a little bit hurt seeing everybody so far up the road from me in race 1, doing the hard tires on the beginning and then going on soft. So I had a decision either to trust my ego and say it was better strategy to go soft first, or to stick with what I knew. I went with my ego, and it seemed to work.
Yeah, I guess Barber is one of those tracks where ego definitely pays off, especially with it being so hard to pass around here.
Yeah, it's. I guess if you haven't got a tire advantage, then it is quite difficult to pass. Had to use up more of the softs than I thought I probably should early in the stint in the second race, but was able to keep the pace relatively good towards the end of the pit window, and then I guess hold on with hards really towards the end. I thought for sure that Mitch and Assad were going to get past us, but Michael and I did good to stay ahead.
Well, you may not necessarily be teammates anymore, but it's good to see there's still some camaraderie between you two, and finishing 1 and 2 on the road is a great result for you guys. Just all I can say about this round from you is you did good, an excellent points haul, and if there's anyone you have to thank for your performance, now is the time.
I think I got to thank Mike Broomhead. So both of us were flying solo tonight with our respective teammates. Not with us, so we were on Discord together and sharing notes. So Mike was a big part of tonight, and we worked together. We made it happen. So 1-2 feels like old times, and thanks to Mike and you guys, obviously putting on a great show, and Michael again for putting on such an awesome league. Thanks, everybody.
Indeed. Hopefully we'll be able to see you at the Indy 500K, which is the next round of the championship on May the 21st. Still spots open for that race. So if you liked what you saw here from Andrew Hardman and you think, I can beat this guy, maybe you can sign up. Thanks for joining us, Andrew.
Cheers, guys.
Andrew Hardman there with our Michael Broomhead being the next to join us here, Zippy.
Well, I got to say, Mike, usually if we get you in, it's more in an administrative role, but certainly today you did indeed manage to look through the closet and find some driving talent. The double zero machine definitely making some benefits there from that invert grid. But you did say coming in that you felt pretty confident at Barber, and it's fair to say that you definitely delivered on that. Tell us a little bit about how you felt taking those soft tires for such an extended period.
Yeah, I'm usually pretty good here, oddly enough. It's not one of my favorites, but hey, it's a rhythm track, and I'm kind of rhythmy. I'm kind of smooth. But yeah, I looked into that closet. There was some talent hidden in the back. It's a bit dusty. It's been back there for a while, so I thought I'd bring that out for this one. But my good friend Andrew Hardman got me after the pit stops. I was a little bit slow on the cold hards. I didn't have a good first race with the hards, just shot off the track. There was no talent in the first race, but yeah, he got me and just try to hold on to second with those two cars on the reds.
Well, certainly, it does indeed a very close knit battle happening behind between Nakano Bev and Mitch Green. But we're going to hear a little bit more from Nakano Bev in just a moment. And Mike, we're going to keep you in the booth actually, so you can tell us a little bit more about the Indy 500 coming up. But as a driver interview point of view, is there anybody you'd like to shout out?
Yeah, of course. To Mimi, the girls, and my parents for always watching and always supporting. Of course, Pit Road Productions for all you do. It's nothing without you, and of course the all the other drivers that make this so much fun and competitive each week. So thanks to everybody who took part today. It's fantastic.
Oh, absolutely fantastic stuff. Mike, we're going to keep you here on standby for now, as I do believe that, Reese, you've been able to catch up with the third place finisher in the last race, Assad Nakano.
Yeah, indeed, Assad. That was quite the race from you. Coming off that top 5 in race 1, you obviously wanted to dial up the aggression a bit more, and watching you battle with Mitch Green certainly did that. It looked pretty intense.
Yeah, my tires at the start of the race, my tires were great. Got onto the alternates, they were good, but then they just dropped off a lot more compared to the last race. Didn't have enough time to adapt to that, which is why Mitch got right up to my back, and we just had a great fight until then. And yeah, just trying to hold him off was my main concern there.
Yeah, well, honestly, the tires were mega important because this track is just so hard to pass on. You did use your push to pass up quite early in race 2, I noticed, so that was a little bit of extra pressure you had to deal with.
Yeah, I also had to manage with that too. My push to pass was like I think 8 seconds by lap 19, so I had like 7 laps. I'd use no push to pass whatsoever, trying to manage it, trying to understand where I needed the most. Last lap was the most important part, but yeah, just managing mostly this race compared to last race.
We go to an oval for the next round of the series for Indianapolis. What are your thoughts coming into that round? Obviously, a different style of racing required, and it's going to be a bit of an endurance one as well.
Yeah, I think our main goal here as a team is, I mean, Mauricio, is to just survive the race because it's about 2 hours long. You're driving in a circle basically the entire time, and it's gonna be really hard racing the entire time. So you just gotta manage yourself well and not get into crashes and trying to finish in a good spot. Mostly just survival.
Well, let's see how you go in that respect there, Assad. Thanks very much for joining us. Anyone you want to thank before we let you go?
Thank you, and I would like to thank Pivotal Productions. I would like to thank my family, my mom, my dad, everybody, and I would like to thank my teammate Mauricio for joining me this year, and I would like to thank all my sponsors: Performance Racing School, 45 Motorsports, et cetera, et cetera.
Thanks very much, Assad, Nicard, and Bev. And finally, Zippy, it looks like before we round things off with Mike, we can have a chat to our race 1 winner, Shane Larson. Oh, looks like Zippy is muted. So it looks like I will be having a chat with you, Shane. Congratulations.
All right.
Taking the championship lead coming out of last round at Motorsport, you started off the night pretty much as perfectly as you could ask for with that win in race 1.
Yeah, race 1 went exactly the plan. Started on the reds, thought I'd try and get a gap and get as far as I could because I knew the blacks were just gonna be slow. So just tried to make a gap, used the push pass I had, and then got onto the blacks and just kind of watched the gap behind. And man, who was it? No, it wasn't Caden. Who was it? It was someone. Anyways, they were catching like crazy, and so I was just going just as quick as I needed to, just because I knew the blacks weren't great, and so it just went to plan.
Yeah, it was Clay Morris that was chasing you down there, I think, in race 1. Massive win for you there. Race 2, of course, it was already going to be difficult starting back in 15th. What was your approach?
Yeah, with how good the Reds were at the start of the first race, I figured I might as well try and do the same thing and use the Reds to get through the pack and try and make some passes because I knew it's pretty difficult to overtake here at Barber, and so thought I'd start on Reds, and it was not the right call. I mean, can't really plan for accidents either, though. Yeah, I just got tangled up in the hairpin. Tried to avoid the best I could. Took off some of the wing, and at that point, I was like, well, just got to try and limp it so I can make it on one stop, and just kind of took the pain and just did what I really could.
Well, still a great points haul from you here today. I'm not sure exactly what the championship situation looks like, but one thing's for sure, you're definitely still up there with that performance. Shane, anyone you want to thank?
As always, got to thank the team, got to thank Hyperion. It was nice to see Matt Brewer coming and joining us for this race, and missing Willie tonight. But yeah, I'd like to thank them, everyone who I invited to come watch, my parents, and got to thank my wife for being on the spotter stand for me tonight and calling strategy for the races. So it was a good time.
Excellent stuff, and a good time chatting to you, Shane Larson. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks, guys.
Well, that's going to round things off for driver interviews, Zippy. It's time to preview the next round of the championship here with Mike Broomhead.
Certainly, Mike, it's always a pleasure to have you here in the booth, not just in a driver role, but in an administrative role as well, the master of BIS. And certainly, shouts out Pit Road Productions. But ladies and gentlemen, Mike is an absolute wizard behind the scenes, and certainly I definitely appreciate him for sure. But Mike, I know the Indy 500, definitely one of the bigger events in the BIS calendar in terms of a single race event. Tell us a little bit about if there's any spots available, for example, anybody who wants to get involved. Certainly a few people looking to try and do it more on the league side than the officials, because honestly, the standard of racing can often be much, much better.
Yeah, so we do actually have some spots available. We put out the first come first serve to all the league guys, and they said whether they're going to be in it or not. And so we have almost a full grid. It's 2 weeks away. We do have, I believe it's 2 spots for sure. I'm still waiting for one person. So if you want to get involved, just join us on the Discord. You can probably scan a QR code. I don't know if Christian has that. Just get in touch with us, Pit Road Productions as well, and we'll obviously feed you in the right direction. It's we're going to cap it at 33, and it's going to be 500 kilometers. Not we're in Canada. 500 kilometers, not miles. And the reason actually isn't because we're in Canada. It's because of the time frame that we have to fit it in. But we're going to go qualifying coming up this week and next week, I guess. And on Wednesday next week, 1 week from now, we'll have a qualifying session live here on Pit Road Productions as well. And then, of course, a bit of practice. And it's going to be a fun one. We had a bit of a pack race last year, so we've got our fix set up, adjusted so that it's a little harder to follow, spread it out a little bit, but you can really work with the tools and do it. So it should be a more realistic experience, and it's always fun to do Indy. The only oval we have in BIS this season, but it's going to be a good time.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, again, if you want to be part of the action, scan that QR to join. If that isn't working for you, just leave a comment on this broadcast. I will see it here over at Pit Road Productions, and I will definitely make sure that you get hooked up and able to enter that race. And I do want to specify as well, there will be a reserve place, but as you can hear, just 2 spots available right now. So if you want to get involved, I honestly wouldn't hang around, and certainly as well, I've always enjoyed races even more so when there's a broadcast, and especially if it's a broadcast on Pit Road Productions. But I mean, that's a biased opinion. I know if I'm driving, I'm absolutely going to get the stuffing roasted out of me. You guys will get treated much, much better. Certainly, it'd be myself and Reese here in the booth, and we do indeed. We can be influenced, ladies. Well, at least myself can be influenced, and some people like trophies. I'm rather supplement to a good bit of food, ladies and gentlemen. But anyway, jokes aside, Mike Broomhead, ladies and gentlemen, the founder of BIS, an absolutely fantastic job. Actually, Mike, I come to think of it, how many seasons now, off the top of your head, has BIS run so far?
Oh, I think we started 22 to 23 winter. So we started with F1600 and Radical then. So it's just been building and it's been going. So we're going into 25 and 26 in the winter time with Radical again, and F1600 again. So that should be a good time.
Oh, absolutely. And then not only that, we've had the BIS Radical Academy as well. Definitely good to see some of these women here getting involved in motorsports. But certainly BIS IndyCar is everybody's fair game, ladies and gentlemen. But I think we're just about ready to bring this show to a close. Again, a huge thanks to our the sponsor here, Doppler. A huge thanks to them, and a huge shout out to everybody for taking part in this. Certainly some interesting racing indeed, some spicy battles, maybe some that need a little bit of review as well. We'll find out. We'll keep an eye on the Discord offline. But Reese, any closing thoughts from yourself?
Indy coming up in 2 weeks' time. It's going to be an absolute banger. This race was certainly significant for the championship as well, bringing things a little bit closer in the midst of everything. But we go to the home of IndyCar for our 500-kilometer race in 2 weeks' time. I'm just looking forward to that one.
Well, certainly as well, and it's the only event of the year where we do actually have the qualifying session as a separate broadcast as well. So some interesting stuff indeed. But ladies and gentlemen, again, if you want to get involved in that, you've seen that QR code. Just rewind the video after it's gone live. But definitely take a look. But I think it's just about going to close it up from here. For myself, Daniel Zippy Salmon, and my comrade with a very fetching hat, ladies and gentlemen, you noticed, I'm sure, the Pit Road Productions finest merchandise, Mr. Reese, the Southpaw Racer Gardner, who will be live this Saturday on his Twitch channel, Southpaw Racer. Definitely, I would also enjoy doing that. I enjoy driving a little bit of classic stuff as well. My old man inside, and again, Reese, actually, how many followers or active watchers do we need to get you to wear the classic gear for the next stream? How many is that going to take?
Probably a couple of thousand and maybe a few hundred in donations as well, because that stuff be expensive.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, the benchmark has indeed been set. Certainly, let's be grateful it's that rather than Borat attire, ladies and gentlemen. Certainly couldn't put that on Pit Road Productions. I don't know if I'd want to either, but that's just going to bring it to a close. Today is Wednesday, ladies and gentlemen, so we are actually going to be back tomorrow for the MV Sim Sports Series at 8:55 Eastern, if my memory serves me right, and then we're back on Saturday as well with another show in the mix. But thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you next time.